Rugby Hive is honored to welcome a new partner and one that is, of course, an instant favorite of yours truly. It's BRU'S, Biltong, and with me, the founding sensation, Bru Isaacs, simply known as Bru. Welcome to the Hive, my friend.
How's it going? Thanks for having me, Darren.
It's brilliant to have you, my friend. And listen, we've got the merch as well, right? So we might as well get that going. See, sensational.
Represent, you know?
I've finished all my samples, but we got every month we got Biltong arriving left, right, and
There's
center.
plenty more where that came from, Bru.
There it is. Good. Thank you. But we're gonna go through some of your favorites in a little bit. But I want to get the backstory. I want to get the whole thing that is BRU'S. It's genius, first of all. Secondly, tell us where you grew up, how did you end up in the United States?
All right. So I was born and raised in Johannesburg, South Africa. Grew up playing rugby there, was passionate about it. Rugby and Biltong also go hand in hand. And my parents had the means to send their kids to America. Basically, they thought we sort of had a better future in America. They had the means to sort of send us here. So I came here for college. I came here when I was 18 and did my undergrad in a small engineering school on the East Coast in Hoboken, New Jersey. Yeah, and so I came to America, and basically Biltong is one of the things that South Africans miss most about South Africa. You know, and if people say, you know, what do people eat in South Africa? What's the typical food in South Africa? You know, 9 times out of 10 people will talk about Biltong, and so you know, there's no jerky in South Africa. It's all Biltong, and so when oftentimes when South Africans come to America and they try jerky, they're like, "What is this crap?" You know, and so. There's good jerky. You just have to find the right stuff. And so I think a lot of South Africans have the similar thing. They leave South Africa, come here, they can't find their Biltong sauce. You know, I came here in 2001, so I would go back to South Africa quite a lot. My parents still live there. And we grew up eating a ton of Biltong. We were like Biltong connoisseurs in South Africa. Scout out all the great places, you know exactly where to go, you know exactly how you like it. But one time going back to South Africa, my dad sort of came up with his own recipe and started making his own Biltong. And so I went home one summer vacation or something to go and see them. And I came home with one of these countertop Biltong machines, a few bags of Biltong seasoning. It looked like bricks of heroin in my suitcase. I was worried I was going to get stopped at passport control. And started making it at home with like a countertop Biltong, you know, one of these small sort of countertop Biltong machines. And so I was working at SpaceX at the time. And so I would like make it and just hand it out to some of my friends. And I was like, you know, just trying to get them, just trying to share this awesome product with Americans. You know, this is something that you guys haven't tried before. And so however much I made, you know, it would just go in a flash. You know, people wanted it. And I wasn't even really making a lot of money. You know, I was just kind of, you know, like seeing who wanted to try it. And so then I made a bigger machine out of like an IKEA clear tub, cut some holes in it, got some computer fans, and just kind of copied that design, but made it bigger unit. And so I could make more product. And so I'd make more and more. However much I made, it went in a flash. Eventually, like my dad said to me, because I looked online at like the legit commercial industrial machine that the butchers in South Africa use. It's massive. And I sent like a link to my dad. He's like, I'll just send you one of these. And so he sent me this massive like industrial Biltong machine. And I was like, what am I going to do with this thing? He's like, we'll figure it out. I'll just send it to you. So he sent me this giant machine, set it up in my garage. It can make like 200 pounds of Biltong at a time per batch. And so however much I made, I'd make like a bigger batch and a bigger batch and a bigger batch. And however much I made, I remember I once made a batch, like this table. I have an autopsy table kind of thing where you lay it up all the product and how I marinate and stuff. And so this thing was full of Biltong. And I was like, wait, how the heck am I going to sell all this stuff? And like literally within a week or two, it was all gone. I like really loved the recipe and I was really passionate about it and sort of showed that and people, whoever I gave it to, 9 times out of 10, people were like, this is awesome. And so I decided to actually start the business and try and give it a crack. You know, I registered the business in 2017. It was sort of difficult trying to figure out how to really turn it into a real business. And one of the things that I eventually had to let go of, like it was kind of years thinking about it, but I actually had to sort of, you know, I got someone else who was already certified to start making it for me. And I worked with him. He makes it for a lot of the other brands. But I worked with him for about a year trying to get it exactly right how I wanted. And so when we got that right, we officially launched the brand and the website last year in July. And so we've just sort of passed through, we're a little over the year mark of officially launching. And so far so good. The sort of the feedback has been really great. We're still just really getting started. But I think we have a cool brand. That was sort of and we have a great product. And the name, sorry if I'm kind of fumbling around here with my words and the story, but like where the name Bru's Biltong actually comes from is, coming to America. I'd say the typical South African term to most of my friends, like, how's a brew?
Yeah.
And playing rugby in the rugby circles and fraternity at the university, I'd say, how's a brew to everyone? And so then my nickname became Bru, or Steve Bru.
See, that's great. I was wondering obviously I know the How's It Brew is such a classic, but now it's just Bru's your nickname as well. Firstly, I want a couple of questions. Okay, what are you doing at SpaceX, or what were you doing at SpaceX?
So I did a bunch of different things, but I was there for almost 10 years. I started as a manufacturing engineer, sort of went through a number of different roles, but all mostly focused on like process improvement on the production floor. How do you sort of increase output and do awesome things.
That's amazing. Then secondly, I know we chatted long ago as well. I love the story. You said you had your backpack on and you had the biltong in there, and folks would come up to you like it was some sort of drug deal, obviously. So were there any funny, embarrassing moments where people came up to you later, even at work or elsewhere, said, "What are you actually doing? What's in your bag?"
That was one of the weird things, because I was always like, I never actually got busted, right? But I just walk around like slinging meat out of a backpack, like, who wants some biltong? And but I get guys like randomly email me like, "Hey, have you got any more of that badass jerky?" So people would come out of the woodwork. Like completely random people just come up to me like, "Hey, yeah, I hear you make awesome jerky." Give it a try. First hit's free. No.
See, that's great. I love it. Okay, so a couple of follow-ups again I have. Okay, so firstly, when somebody does, from the US come to you and say, "Hey, I need some of that jerky," what is your quick answer to describe the difference?
Well, I think it's also like a lot of the commercial jerky that you get in America is kind of, it doesn't even taste like it's real. It doesn't taste like it's real, So I think it's unfair comparing it to general jerky.
Yeah.
And so, but I think it's more, so first of all, I can talk about this for days, right? First of all, it is air dried. It's not smoked or cooked. So it's essentially, it's like seasoned with salt. It's cured with vinegar, and then you mix a bunch of spices in it, and you marinate it, and then you hang it in basically a food dehydrator. And so like the big ones, the sliced biltong comes from a slab. It's a big piece of meat that you hang the whole piece of meat. You slice a certain way, cure it, marinate it a certain way, and you hang it in the machine, and then you take it out. 4 days to whatever, a week later. And then I either sell the slab or you slice it up, the pre-sliced, into the sort of different sized bags. It tastes more like meat. It's almost like it's more like a cured, like a deli meat, like prosciutto. And there's also like one of the things that, like in South Africa, there's not like 20 different flavors of biltong. There's like, there's essentially like original and maybe chili, a spicy variant, but there's not teriyaki and all of these other flavors. So the traditional sort of flavor is the predominant flavoring is coriander, and there's salt and pepper and a few other things, but coriander is the sort of one of the sort of signature spices. And so that's been sort of one of the things with Bru's Biltong, is that I want to sort of assimilate in America, right? I think it's important to assimilate and not just sort of be longing for our home country or whatever. But I also want to keep the sort of the like authenticity, that this is real biltong. It's not jerky parading as biltong like some of these other brands. And that was sort of an important thing for me, was making the best possible product. That's really, and even compared to South Africa, it's not like, oh, the best biltong just in America. I want to be competitive, with the best biltong in South Africa. To me, it's about the product. It's not just about a brand or, marketing exercise. It's creating this awesome sensation when you open a bag of Bru's Biltong and you have that first bite. You're like, oh my God, this stuff's awesome.
Yeah.
And so that's the sort of the goal. Is every batch consistent or every bag, or do we always have that reaction? Probably not, but that really is the goal. There are variables and batch to batch might be slightly different. But that's, I hope I did a decent job explaining it.
Yeah.
One of the additional things in South Africa was there weren't different flavors necessarily, but they'd use different cuts of meat. They'd use whatever, ostrich or springbok or kudu or whatever different sort of native antelope in South Africa. But the flavor, you didn't have a zillion different flavors. So sorry to add your 2 cents there. Did I do it?
No, I want to say the packaging is amazing. I love that. But as you said, the product is superb. So the Bru is fantastic as well. So I don't know if that's a family recipe or where you got that from, but that is honestly, it's very difficult to find a Bru in America, but also the quality is outstanding.
Yeah, no, we're very proud of our dry horse. When I open a bag of dry horse, I can't stop.
Yeah, exactly. And so would you say that's one of your favorite ones? Because I'm asking which is your favorite product. I know it's hard to choose. It's like children choosing between your kids.
It is like choosing between my kids. I like the slabs. The slabs are like the old school go-to because what I like about the slab is that it preserves the freshness. So it almost like it stays almost like cured and intact, kind of like those legs of ham in Spain. And you slice it just when you're going to eat it. And so it's like, ideally, you've got like kind of like a pinkish sort of, kind of like a little bit rare in the middle. That's the way I like it. But I like the slabs because it keeps it nice and fresh. But the dry horse is also awesome. Snapsticks are good. The snapsticks are the one that people are hit or miss. But we really try to emulate Woolworths in South Africa. They were kind of almost had the sort of the market, they had their product was different to everyone else. And we really tried to emulate what Woolworths was doing with their snapsticks. Some people, that's a little more of a love or hate kind of thing compared to the other products, but I like them also.
Well, we're going to be featuring all your products, obviously, throughout the months as we keep this partnership going. Shout out the website verbally. We obviously have it on the screen as well, but where do folks go to get their Biltong?
So, you can go to brusbiltong.com. Yeah, and so we've got a pretty sort of straightforward website, easy to navigate, lots of different places to click, shop now. But I think it's also important, thanks for this partnership. I think an important thing to sort of share was, or is that, rugby was sort of a super important part of my life, in particular coming to America. And that's one of my things with Bru's Biltong, wanting to also give back to the game. So we've got a partnership with HPM Group, which is like a player, kind of like a player sort of management sort of group where they're trying to look after the players in Major League Rugby and trying to almost promote that a rugby player can actually earn a living playing rugby in America, and that they looked after. So there's things like this that I'm trying to sort of just get involved with, and sort of really trying to give back however much I can. The company, one of the things I want to turn into a massive company. And the more revenue we generate, the better equipped we are to give back to the community. Some sort of like developmental programs and some of these types of things. So it's super important to me to sort of it's an honor for me to actually be on your show and sort of trying to sort of really give back to the game of rugby in America.
Well, you owe me one because you stepped me back in the day in California when we were playing sevens against each other. So we're even now, right? So there we go. well, Bru, listen, I want to say it's honestly so glad we connected. And again, love that you're getting so involved with the rugby community, of course, which is so intrinsic to us as South Africans, but spreading that love here in the US, which is so important where we live now. So look forward to seeing you on the beach in California. We'll be getting some rugby going, of course, in the upcoming months. But in the meantime, of course, Bru's Biltong is where it's at, my friends. Make sure you click on the website as well, and we'll be sharing all your good content, as I said, as the Rugby Hive continues flourishing. Thanks for coming on, my boy Chi.
Awesome. Thanks, Dallin. Nice chatting.
Bye.
Cheers.